Hey everybody, welcome back to Run and Gun. I'm JT, and if you haven't been here before, make sure before you leave you hit that subscribe button down below so you can see all of my tips, tricks, hacks, and of course reviews. And speaking of reviews, today we're going to be doing a review on the 20-inch Tarion camera slider. So this is a pretty neat slider. I picked this up on Amazon for about $109. There will be a link down below in the description. That sounds kind of expensive, but this is pretty cool. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the ergonomics, the aesthetics and the looks of this thing, and then how it actually functions, because that's the most important part. Does it work, and does it do what it's supposed to, and does it do what it's advertised to do? So this is a pretty neat slider. It looks awesome. As you can see, I have these little wooden butt ends on both ends of the slider. It just makes it look cool and it looks classy. It also has these little orange accent knobs around here, and of course the Tarion stamps, which I don't really care about, but it looks pretty nice. This kind of semi-glossy, semi-matte black, which is painted aluminum. On the bottom here, it has places for you to screw in your tripod. You could screw in one here and one here for really like the ultimate stabilization, or you can screw in one here in the middle. It's just set up pretty nice. It's only 20 inches. I've seen some really big sliders and I've seen some really small sliders. I think this is perfect. It's right in the middle. It's small enough that I could throw it over my shoulder, slide it in a backpack if I needed to, but it also is long enough to get the job done. Now, on top of it looking cool, the ergonomics are pretty cool. Like I was saying, it's fairly small. It's not too heavy. It's not going to add a ton of weight to your bag. And on the back, which is really cool, it looks like it would be a little bit wobbly, and there's not that wide of a base if you put it down on the ground, but you have these little feet that come out of both ends with rubber stoppers on them. And this really widens the base of the slider. If I put it on this desk here, you can see it's not going to be wobbling around a lot. And there are those rubber feet to keep it from sliding when you want just your camera to slide. And they fold in super simply on the bottom, and they go away for easy storage. Now, one of the other things you might be asking, what are these little orange knobs and all these little check marks and dashes on the sides of the slider? So this is actually a pretty neat feature. When you rotate these knobs, it moves the center track up and down depending on which way you rotate it. So if I loosen up the stopper here and let it slide, you can see that my camera will rotate depending on where I have these here. So the actual base rotates your camera. So let's say I had an object I'm trying to focus on that's in the center, and a normal manual slider will just pan right past the object. Now let's say I want my camera to stay locked on that object. If I set my camera on here, the base rotates and the camera stays locked on. And it almost fakes that appearance of that circular dolly shot around your subject. And it just adds a little bit of something to the shot to look really cool. And it's just a little bit more motion that looks neat. And it's definitely an awesome feature. And it's why this slider is just a little bit more expensive than other 20-inch sliders its size. But I think the build quality is pretty great. Obviously, it looks great, looks really classy, and it does what it's supposed to do. It slides super smooth. And remember, when you're using a slider, it's all about how you're using it as well. You can lube up some kind of crappy sliders and move them pretty smoothly, or you can take a really nice slider, and if you don't know what you're doing, you'll still get wobbly shots. And another tip to remember is not to put a huge tripod head on top of your slider. If you can just mount your camera directly to the slider, that's keeping your center of gravity nice and low, so there's less room to wobble. It's right here locked onto the slider. But if you have to put a tripod head on top of this for any sort of movement you're doing while sliding or control, remember that you want the smallest head possible. You don't want something heavy, bulky, because remember, these little feet can only do so much, and when you're on top of a tripod, you're getting even more wobble with this, and the tripod's wobbling, and you're not going to get a steady shot. So the closer your camera is to the base of your slider, the smoother your shot is going to be. So that is all for this review. This is a pretty awesome slider. You can check out the link down below in the description. I have a bunch of fun with it every time I play with it, and it's nice and lightweight, so I take it with me almost all the time if I can. Even if I don't have a tripod, I can slap it on the ground and have an absolute blast with it. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are what make this channel awesome. I will see you next weekend, and until next time, get out and go shoot.